Hello everyone and welcome back. If this is your first time, I hope you'll stay. Espero que te quedes. Hoy estoy aquí con una persona encantadora, pero voy a dejar que él mismo se presente. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
My name is Roy Charles Brookman. I was born in the area in West Kingston nearly 90 years ago.
90 years.
A long time.
A long time. And have you always lived in this village?
No, I never lived actually in the village. When we were first married, we were in a bungalow at North Wraxall
Okay.
for 18 months.
Okay.
And then I built with my father and grandfather and myself and some of our men, built our house.
Wow.
And we've been there 67 years.
67 years. Wow. So you've been in construction for almost all your life.
All my life, yeah. And my father before me, and my grandfather, and my great-grandfather, and I have a family history back to 1770.
Wow, that is amazing.
Long time.
But no, what I'm really interested in hearing, because I was at your house a couple of days ago,
Yeah.
and I was shocked when you mentioned that you had built your own house.
Yeah.
So was that an idea you always had? Was that a dream you always had, to build
Yeah.
your own?
It was a tradition.
Ah, okay.
My grandfather built his, my father built his, so I had to follow on.
The footsteps.
And now my son Mark, who you've met,
Yes.
he's built his.
Oh, that is wonderful. That is wonderful. So children, how many children do you have?
5.
Oh, you've been very blessed.
Yeah. I was an only child, and so a large family was foreign to me. We say in England, it hit me like a thunderstorm.
Yeah. Una sorpresa por completo, algo nuevo.
2 boys
Uh-huh.
and 3 girls.
Ooh.
And my wife had a number of problems. She had 2 miscarriages.
Oh,
We-
sorry to hear that.
We badly wanted another son, and it did seem as though it wouldn't happen. But then eventually Mark came along, and my oldest son said to me when they came back from the hospital, he said to me, "Dad, I knew it was all right when I saw your face."
Ah, the happiness. Mr. Brookman, it is raining.
Is it?
I think we have to go inside.
Will we?
Yes, it's starting to rain. I don't want you to get wet.
Oh, don't worry about it.
No, but I wouldn't want you to get wet.
You know the old song says, "It isn't raining rain, you know it's raining violets."
I like that. However, I think it's a sensible thing to do. I'm going to take you inside.
Okay,
We
yeah.
will finish inside. Okay.
That's a pity.
Yes, because it was a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's- Typically English weather.
It's typically English
very
weather.
changeable.
It changes all of a sudden, very volatile. So we're going to continue. How are you feeling today?
Not too bad.
Okay.
I don't feel A1 because my knees are so troublesome.
Yeah.
And last night I didn't go to bed, not in the proper bed. I slept on an air bed
Oh.
in our living room to be by my wife. We take it in turns, so she's never alone.
Oh, okay. That's beautiful.
She never woke me up. Of course, it gets light very early, doesn't it?
Yes,
in the
it does.
morning.
It does.
My son came in, not as early as you. You were about before.
Yes, I was up at 5.
Is there such a time?
Yeah. It's lovely. It's beautiful. Went for a lovely walk.
Yeah.
and so my legs are aching because my mum took me over 5 hills.
As a younger man, I was always an early riser.
Yes.
We used to say 2 hours before 9 in the morning is better than 4 hours afterwards.
Again, I like that saying. I like that saying a lot. So, tell me, I'm interested to hear a little bit more about your wife. How long have you been married? And what is your secret to a long and happy marriage?
We've been married 66 years, 67 years next month.
Okay.
No, in September. I met her in the village.
Okay.
Because I used to play table tennis, titch tennis.
Yes.
And I met Daphne in the village hall. She was playing for Castlecoombe, and I was playing for Nettleton. A long time ago. You could say it was a love match.
I like that, a love match. Was it love at first sight?
Yes, I suppose. I had one or two other girlfriends, very low key. I was telling your husband one that I really did like, and she was the sister of my work colleague, but she eventually married an Australian.
Oh.
And she's still out there now.
Oh, okay.
Now old. But Daphne and I got going, and after we had no money because I was a motorcycle fanatic, always wasting my money, and we used to go to a lot of motorcycle racing. I've been to the Isle of Man. Have you ever heard of the Isle?
I have, but I haven't been. I've never been.
It is a very big motorcycle race right round the island.
Oh, okay.
A whole week. Sadly, many riders get killed.
Oh, dangerous then.
Oh, very dead. We were over there, and I was very fond of a rider by the name of Jack Graham. And we were watching, and he came round on the first lap. And then, where's Jack Graham? And he had gone down the slope and was killed.
Oh gosh, that's awful. That must have put you off.
Oh yes,
You did.
Only for a while. I went back the next year and took a photograph of his memorial.
Oh, okay.
But yes, it spoilt it that day.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And coupled with that, we were on a motorcycle in Gloucester. We had to cross the railway, steamway, and I got a smut in my eye. And over there, it was getting worse. I went to a chemist, and I said, "Can you help me?" And he got down, and he did. And he wouldn't take any money.
Oh, there's some really good people in the world.
There are.
Yeah, there are. Still today.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's nice to know.
Yeah.
When we were in the garden, and you mentioned that you did a lot of work here in this house, and that is so surprising. How many houses have you built in your career? Or is that a great number?
About 50.
50 houses.
Yeah.
Wow.
And a few doctors' surgeries and things like that. I've done a great deal of work on churches. This church here in the village did no end of work there.
Yeah. And are you quite religious? Are you quite religious?
I'm a Christian. I don't like the word
Religious. Okay. You're a Christian.
I'm a Christian.
How do you think being Christian has shaped who you are as a person?
I think really it's made everything different. I look at things differently. I see things differently, I believe things differently, I act differently, because the Bible says if we are Christians, we're not our own. We belong to Jesus. And so I have to try to live and say in certain situations, what would Jesus do?
Yeah.
And so that has been a guiding principle, and I have preached the Bible, the gospel, for 55 years.
Right.
My first effort was very unexpected. We had gone with my wife to her sister who lived near Ascot Racecourse.
Yeah.
And I had a very dear Christian friend near Eldershot. And we went to see him on the Sunday to his service. We went in and he just sort of acknowledged it. When the service got going, he announced that he'd been expecting God to give him a message for that afternoon, but he hadn't done it. But he said, a young friend has come and perhaps he is the one. So I looked at Daphne. Anyway, his text was Moses was told by God to do certain things, and he didn't feel able to do it. And so he said to God, I am not eloquent. And this was God's reply. Who made man's mouth? He is everything we have and are is because of what God has done. At the end of the service, he said, Roy, I've got to ask you to take the service this afternoon. I said to Daphne, I'm going to take you home to your sister. I don't want you to be here while I make a fool of myself.
I'm sure you didn't make a fool of yourself at all.
No, I didn't. God really helped me that afternoon.
Yeah.
I was determined not to tell anybody. I was very close to my dad and my mum. I loved them dearly. And we lived in harmony.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to tell Dad. But a lady was at the service who knew me and who had relatives here in Castlecoombe. So that afternoon, who do you think preached at our chapel? Roy BROOKMAN. So the news got here before I did.
Yes, absolutely. It's hard to keep a secret in a small place like this.
Impossible.
It's impossible.
A couple of days later, a minister from Bath rang me up, said, Roy, I've heard something about you. I said, what was that then, Bill? No, it all. He said, you took the service at Hungry, there was a place called Hungry Hill near Aldershot. And he said, we want you to come and preach for us in Bath. I said, well, that was a one-off.
It was a lucky one.
There's a saying in the Bible, a true saying, that if we put our hand to the plough and then look back and turn back, we're not worthy of the kingdom. They trot that out regularly to make you feel guilty. And so,
for you, what are two essential values that you think we need as people, that we need to hold dear as people?
The most important.
Yes, one or two important values.
Yeah. Well, it is to believe, to have faith. Without faith, we can't please God.
Right.
But if we believe, everything is possible.
Yes.
The Bible says this, according to your faith,
Yes.
be it unto you. Believe and you will see the glory of God. And I've proved that many times. Now, there's an old hymn which says, blind unbelief.
Blind unbelief.
Unbelief, we're sure to err, and scan God's work in vain.
Yeah.
God is his own interpreter,
Absolutely.
and he will make it plain.
Yeah. And even if you're not religious, these are quite interesting words, because nowadays, young people, this generation, we talk a lot about manifestation, and it's believing in something. And so it all goes back to belief again.
Yeah.
It's strong, stronger than...
People will say, oh no, I don't believe this. But God has actually spoken to me on different occasions.
Okay.
We had an old deacon in our church, the old leader, and he dropped dead in the bathroom. I had a message, Uncle Bert is dead. I thought I must go over straight away to his widow, and I'm on my way over, and I could take you to a place near Westkington, where suddenly I'm confronted with this responsibility of having to look after that little chapel, which a lot of people say, well, that's nothing. But to me, it was a great burden.
Yes.
And I came to this place, I could take you to the very spot where God said to me, as I was with Moses, so will I be with you. Now, God was faithful to Moses, and God was promising to be faithful. Now, I failed. I've let him down times, of course, because
all of us have.
I'm weak. We're all...
We're human.
We're human,
Yeah,
that's right.
there we go.
But he's never failed me.
Okay.
And I've had major heart surgery 30 years ago.
Okay.
A real miracle that it's lasted that long.
And here you are, today.
Yeah.
And what do you do? What's your secret to, I mean, you're nearly 90 years old. What's your secret to good health?
I've never smoked.
Okay.
I've never drank I'm not a teetotaler.
Okay.
But I've never drunk to excess. I've exercised. And I worked hard.
Okay. Yeah.
I got up early and worked late. A fairly clean life.
Okay. That's important. That we underestimate the power of living a clean, healthy life, eating clean, doing all the things that we ought to do.
And of course, a wonderful privilege of being born in an area like this.
Very blessed.
Yeah.
Very, very blessed. Okay. Sorry. Were you going to add something? Were you about to add something?
No, I was only going to say we were married in the church here.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And when we were wanting to be engaged, I came to see Daphne's father, who lived just up the road, and he was working in that garden over the other side of the stream this Saturday afternoon. And I said to him, Daphne and I would like to be married. And he was a very jolly sort, it's all right. Said, I've known you a long time.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't realise that when I was a baby, he was our local baker.
Ah, okay.
So he used to come to my house, and I lived up a lot of steps. He used to come there in the afternoon with the bread, help my mother take the pram down the steps.
Yeah.
She would take me for a walk, meet Dad on his way home from work, and so on. So he said, I love you. Then he said this, where are you going to live? Now, I had an old aunt who lived at North Wraxall, who had a friend who had a bungalow. Important to have somewhere to live. He said, when Daphne's sister was getting married, I said to them, where are you going to live? And her husband said, we're going to live with my parents. He said, I said to him, that ain't no good. He said, before you get a pig, you always want to get a sty.
Very important. Where are you going to put the pig if you don't have a sty? Indeed, a very clever man. Absolutely.
And so we were married, and lived at this bungalow in North Wrexham and started to build my house. My grandfather and father and myself and some of our men. We had, at one time, I had over 20 men work for me.
Wow. Wow.
And we built a lot of houses and all sorts of...
That's such a legacy.
Yeah.
You know, and it's beautiful to see just walking around your art, what you're leaving behind, what you've left. You've left this mark, and it's amazing.
Well, I look back and think about it sometimes.
Yeah. But is there something that perhaps at this age now you think, I wish I'd done that, or I wish I'd done this differently?
I wanted, as a young man, I've always been interested in railways, railway engines, steam, you know,
Yeah.
and I always wanted to be an engine driver.
Oh, okay.
But when I passed an exam to go to college, we had to choose building, engineering, art, and different things. So I'm suddenly confronted with this. And I said, building. All my friends said, Brookie, they always call me Brookie.
Brookie.
Brookie, we thought you wanted a train driver. But I thought of this 1770 builder.
Yeah.
And so I carried on.
Tradition, it's tradition, it was tradition. If you had to give a piece of advice to the younger generation, what piece of advice would you give?
Believe in God.
Believe in God.
Work hard. Do your best, to be honest. And really that's it, isn't it?
It is, that's good advice. Do you think construction is still a good career to take up nowadays, even though times have changed?
Yes. A lot of the modern building is sort of pre-packed.
Yeah, a little.
That traditional building is a good, there's something nice. I love woodwork and stonework.
Yeah.
And I can be seen sometimes going along. That's lovely.
Yes, admiring the art that it takes to build something.
My grandfather worked on a lot of very famous buildings.
Oh, okay.
And after the war, the goods yard at Swansea in South Wales was badly bombed. And my dad's firm was sent down there.
Yeah.
And Mother and I went down and lived in Swansea.
Oh, okay.
Right by the railway. It was a wonderful time for
I can
me.
imagine. Must do it.
And I became, as a young, easily influenced young boy, I became quite Welsh in the way I spoke.
Oh, okay. I mean, it happens. It's impressionable child, you know, everything's still developing.
You know, I used to say indeed to goodness and all that.
Really? It's gone a bit now, it's gone a bit. What do you think your greatest accomplishment has been?
Well, in my building, I have achieved quite a lot, but I hope that in my preaching, I've done more good in that way than I have in all the years of building. Because some people have written testimonies that I've been a help to them. There's an old song that says this: if I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living has not been in vain.
I love that. I love that. I love that. The idea of changing somebody's life, making a difference. That is brilliant, Roy.
The Bible says, let brotherly love continue. We must respect and love one another because Jesus has loved us.
Absolutely.
And he gave his life at the cross
Absolutely.
for us.
Beautiful words. And so with that, I think we're going to end this wonderful interview. Thank you so much for coming over.
I hope it's been okay.
It's been brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And guys, until next time, take care. Bye.